Okay guys, so today I'm going to talk about your COM 1205 credit, so that's your Introductory to Photography credit. So one of your tasks, task 2, is taking care of your camera. So it says, students will create an instructional video that will allow them to demonstrate their knowledge on maintenance and care for their digital SLR. So these are the things that I want you to consider. So first of all, how to properly attach a lens to your digital SLR. So here we have the same Canon cameras that you guys have, but the rules really apply to all systems. Sometimes it's counterclockwise versus clockwise, but really the same rules apply all the time. So it's pretty simple in this regard. All you need to do with the Canon crop sensor series cameras is you'll notice there's a white square on the lens, and then there's the white square on the camera. You line up the white squares together, and you turn it clockwise till you hear a click. Okay, so once you hear that click, you're good to go. The lens should be fine, it should be on the camera. If you haven't connected the camera to the lens, you will notice that it'll say F00 on the back of your camera. So basically what that is saying is that your camera is not reading that there's a lens attached to it. So if you see that, there's something wrong. You haven't clicked it, it's not sitting on the camera properly. Okay, so secondly, taking the camera lens off. On Canon as well as my Fuji, there's a button. So in the case of the Canon, there's a button on the left-hand side, right beside the logo. You have to hold down that button, and then you will turn your lens counterclockwise. Take the lens from the camera, set them both face down. This way there's nothing exposed, no open holes exposed to the air. No dust can sit and settle inside the lens or inside the sensor. Once the camera has the lens attached to it, mounted to it, you can take these two pieces and they attach to each other. You can store them in the camera bag. Once you've detached the lens from the camera, first of all, just lift up your lens, put your back cap on, and twist it till it's solid. Okay. Same thing goes for the camera body, just lift it up, put the body cap on, twist it till it's solid. Now you have a camera body that can go in the bag, and a lens with a lens cap, which I don't have, that can go in the bag. The next thing we're going to talk about is cleaning the inside of your camera body. Now, we had a blower. It kind of looks like a rocket ship with a little nozzle that blows air. I have one at home. I don't have it here. So I'm going to use this stress ball as like a mock blower. I'll post a picture of one up in the video, and when the time comes to actually do this activity, you will have one to use for your video. So the reason we clean our camera body is because dust can accumulate inside the camera, and then that dust can sit on the camera sensor, and then you get all these little nasty dust spots all over your image. Alright, so from time to time we have to get in there and we have to give it a little bit of a clean. Now the thing about a sensor is it's very sensitive, so we don't want to actually touch the sensor with our fingers or be too aggressive in how we clean it. How we're going to do this with this camera, we're going to turn the camera on, we're going to go to our menu settings, and then we're going to find sensor cleaning. So it's in the yellow menu. In this camera, the T3i, we're going to go to the second yellow menu. Pretty common with Canon in regards to color menu. We're going down to clean manually. So once we go clean manually, what that's going to do is our mirror that's inside the camera is going to flip up, and it's going to expose the sensor. Just happened. I leave the camera on. I never do this in any other occasion other than when I'm cleaning the sensor manually. Never take your body cap off and expose it to the elements with your camera turned on. The reason for that is it kind of creates this electric, it draws in dust due to static electricity. This is on, we take the cap off, we still have it tipped. So we take our blower and we put it relatively close. We want to put it right into the camera because, again, these are sensitive, so we don't want to get too close. So even if that tip of the blower is just outside of the camera body, and we give it a couple shots of air. Alright? And that's all we can really do. Once you're done that, you can put the body cap back on, and then we can turn the camera off. So the next thing we're going to do is clean your camera lens. So the thing about your camera's lens is it can get scratched. It's sensitive as well. So we want to make sure when we clean it, the biggest thing with this is they are sensitive and they can be scratched, so you really want to watch what you clean them with. And even if you have a proper implement, you want to make sure that it doesn't have any grains of sand or dust or dirt within the brush or on the little scrubbers in here. So the first thing I like to do when I do this is just turn the lens upside down and brush away. Because quite often, if there's something, just some dust or a hair on the lens, you can get it with this brush. So I take a look and I can see that there's still some smudges, almost like somebody accidentally touched it with their fingers. A really good tool is this little soft pad that's on the end of these lens pens. So if you have a spot, you can just touch it up, spot clean it. And I like to do this by giving a little bit of condensation on the lens with my breath first. So in a circular motion, gently brush off that little scuff or oil stain from the finger. It's clean. I'm not even usually a big fan of using like a microfiber cloth on the front of my lenses. I really like to touch the front element of my lenses as the least amount as possible. So this lens is clean now. It can go back on the camera. So we'll do that by taking off the body cap and the back cap of the lens, pointing everything down, and then lining up the white dots, and clockwise. So there we go. Lens clean, sensor clean, ready to go. The last thing I want to discuss is dealing with your camera in cold temperatures. These cameras can handle cold pretty well. Really the only issue that we get is the batteries get cold. So you can't really hurt them. I suppose if it was out for hours and hours and 40 below, but these cameras are meant to be used, so use them, right? Get them out where if there's good images to be taken in the cold, get out and take them in the cold. One thing I like to do when I bring a camera in from the cold is I like to always keep a big freezer bag with me, so that basically what's going to happen is once this camera comes from really, really cold to room temperature, condensation is going to build up within it. So you're going to get humidity. And that's bad for the parts. It's bad for the electronics. It can create condensation inside the lens. And condensation inside the lens can create mold inside the lens. And then if you get these little mold spots on your front element, there's a pretty good chance that lens is going to be done. So what I like to do is I like to keep a freezer bag. And what this does is it just allows the camera to warm up more gradually. And then you don't get the condensation that you build up that you would normally get if you just brought it inside. So while I'm outside in the cold still, I'll take my camera, I'll put it in the Ziploc bag, and I'll just zip it up. Okay, camera's in the bag. I can, even if I want to, even if I have room, I can put it in my camera bag. I can do my camera bag up, and then I can bring it inside. And then after an hour, once the bag, the inside of the bag is warmed up gradually to the inside of the room, you should be able to take the camera out of the bag and be fine. Okay guys, so from that information, what I would like to see you do is build that video, use these tools to talk about how to care for your camera, how to maintain your camera, and then you can submit it inside that folder you make that is inside this credit already.